Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back. I saw that Snow White released not long ago, so I wanted to watch this video on it by the
Fundamental
critical
truths
drinker.
about this world which are so universal that anyone, no matter their race, colour or creed, can pretty much agree on them. 1. Never trust a post-Vindaloo fart. 2.
I don't know what that
Spreadable
means.
butter isn't. 3. Anytime... 2. Spreadable butter isn't.
Do people actually put butter on their sandwich? Like, I've actually never done this. At most, I put some ketchup if I put cheese on it. But I've actually never put butter on it. I have put butter on the cookies.
Butter isn't. 3. Anytime a woman starts a sentence with, "a real man would," you know you're about to hear some
They're
weapons-grade
retarded, yeah.
retardation. And to that
It's dumb.
not-so-illustrious list, we can add that the Snow White live-action remake was, without a doubt, one of the worst ideas in the whole history of entertainment. Possibly the most predictable of all failures, a project conceived for all the wrong reasons.
Oh, it was a failure the moment they did an interview with her. Like, she completely ruined any chance of this movie ever having a future. Like, she just annoyed everyone who saw that. She made people absolutely hate her. Honestly, is she even gonna have a future movies? Because I feel like people just see her and they think, oh, that's that I don't want to say entitled or spoiled. What's the correct word? Whatever. But they just don't like her. Also, the movie absolutely ruined her looks. Like, they made her super ugly for no reason. Like, I've seen her, she looks fine.
Starring all
Actually, I'd say she looks better than mine. She looks better than most girls.
the wrong people, pushing all the wrong messages, and telling the entirely wrong story. After all the delays and the controversies and the speculation that have been swirling around it for what feels like decades now, it was actually kinda weird to finally sit
Actually, Snow White. I don't think the original even had a scene where they were talking together. Dude, why do I search for Snow White and this appears? Original. In the original, she didn't even talk to the Maleficent or whatever. The fairy or dragon, whatever she is. Right? Yeah, she was born. And then this girl came. Wait. I definitely watched this. Whatever. But I'm pretty sure this scene never happened in the original, right?
down and just watch this thing.
Like they never actually talked.
Like meeting a celebrity after following their career for years. Not a good kind of celebrity. Like meeting a celebrity after following their career for years.
Look at this. Look at that side eye.
Not a good kind of celebrity, like. More like a Jimmy Savile kind of celebrity. The kind that you're discreetly warned never to get into a lockable room alone with. But here it is, nonetheless, and now that I've finally suffered through nearly 2 hours of Snow White, I can confidently tell you that, yes, this suffered through nearly 2 hours of
Dude, look at this
Snow
running.
White, I can confidently tell you that, yeah.
Couldn't they just use real people? Like, why didn't they use real people, actually?
But here it is, nonetheless.
Like, what the fuck is this? Even if they can't use real people because they think it's what's it called? It's not racist. The other one. Who cares? They can just put people in, put them on their knees and then hide it. Like, plenty of movies have used grown-up people to play as kids. I guess they aren't kids, but as midgets or short people.
Yes, and now that I've finally suffered
midget
through
is
nearly
bad.
2 hours of Snow White, I
Even
can
though, when I was in school, people called me a midget because I was a small kid. Just saying, it wasn't bad back then.
confidently tell you that, yes, this film absolutely lived up to all my worst expectations, and in some cases even exceeded them. A bloated, overstuffed turkey of a production, weighed down by hammy acting, cheap costumes, horrendous CGI, and vomit-inducing cinematography that bungle
Wait.
cheap costumes, horrendous CGI,
Snow White
turkey of a production, weighed down
was the daughter of the king. Wait, was she? Because the prince the prince came and kissed her. So I always thought she was just a random girl who was good looking. So the queen was jealous of her and tried to kill her. I thought it was the plot. But she's the daughter of the king? But then the prince comes and kisses her. Is this promoting incest? What?
Down by hammy acting, cheap costumes, horrendous CGI, and vomit-inducing cinematography that bungles most of the elements it steals from the original animated movie, abandons its classic ideals of self-sacrifice, heroism, and true love, and injects the lethal dose of the ideals of self-sacrifice, heroism, and true.
How do you make a woman feel strong and not sexist in any way? Make her clean up.
Love, and injects the lethal dose of the message, which is so redundant and thematically contradictory that it just gets abandoned by the ends. It's also laughably obvious where they've had to reshoot and rewrite big chunks of this movie in response to all the backlash. Entire subplots, characters, and setups are introduced and then abandoned without explanation.
I think that's just because they're shit at making movies. Like, I don't think that's because they're rewriting. I think they're just shit, so they probably forgot. Like, I actually don't think, don't want to give them that credit. That they rewrote because of the backlash. I think they're just shit.
And the ending is so wildly anticlimactic and jarring that it makes World War Z look like a model of cinematic efficiency. Anyway, let's get the plot summary over with so we can put this turd
Is this Dumb and Dumber?
behind us. The basic setup for Snow White is broadly similar to the original film. Snow White herself is born to the benevolent king and queen of a generic medieval fantasy land that tactfully goes unnamed. Although, fuck me, they must have pretty good transportation links with the rest of the...
I mean...
Tactfully goes unnamed. Although, fuck me,
this.
they must have pretty good
Is the castle destroyed?
transportation links with the rest of the world because the population here is more ethnically diverse than central London. Anyway, Snow White's mum dies and her dad remarries Gal Gadot, who manipulates him into going off to war, where he promptly disappears and is never seen again. Oh no, guess she's gonna have to...
Does this have anything to do with the Maleficent? I think that's her movie, right? Or how she turned evil or whatever? Does this movie have anything to do with it? Because I thought they were connected. Were they not?
Take control of everything. What a bind. Fast forward a few years and the kingdom's become a kind of dystopian nightmare where everyone's poor and hopeless and rule...
Okay, so a woman takes charge and then everyone's poor, hopeless, and what?
Poor and hopeless, and ruled over by an iron-fisted tyrant. It's a bit like modern-day Britain, only with better sanitation and dental care. Anyway, after a confrontation with Snow White over a bandit named Jonathan who tried to steal some food from the castle, the evil queen decides the best thing to do is send her out into the forest, where the huntsman can conveniently murder her. It's a bit extreme, but I'll let it slide. Sure. Naturally, the huntsman has second thoughts and decides to let her go, and after wandering alone for a while, she runs into dwarves that I can only describe as the kind of thing that Cthulhu probably has nightmares.
Dude, I just want to... Let me pause.
As the kind of thing that...
What the fuck is this? Like, what? Like, the faces and the bodies don't... I think that's the problem, right? The face is super big and then the body is, like, too small.
Cthulhu probably has nightmares about. I'm not kidding, man. The brief glimpses that you got of these things in the trailers are absolutely nothing compared to the existential horror of actually witnessing them on the big screen. These are nightmares made real. Like if you woke up in the middle of the night and saw Mr. Blobby standing at the foot of your bed, silent, motionless, watching you with those blank, lifeless eyes that bore into your very soul. So after crashing at their house for a while, eating their food and helping herself to all of their resources...
Oh, actually, sorry. I should lower this, right? Because the volume is louder on the recording.
Snow White helpfully forces them to clean up their own home while she prances around like she's on some mad acid trip. Which she probably is,
to be fair, in the original, didn't the animals do this? She just sang and then the animals came and did it for her. So it's pretty much the same thing.
be fair, I would be if I was in this fucking movie. Then for some reason she gets it into her head that her dad must still be alive, and the only way to find him is to seek out the bandits that lurk in the forests.
Huh?
Right.
Why
So
the
naturally
bandits?
she runs into Jonathan about 5 minutes after leaving the house so that the rest of the plot can happen, and he protects her from the evil queen's soldiers by taking an arrow that was meant for her, so
Wait, so he... Okay, so she randomly met him after coming out of the house. Whatever. The plot has to go, so whatever. He takes an arrow, and then all of a sudden, they stop shooting her? So, they don't shoot another arrow?
she
Like, am I
brings him
getting
back
this
to
right?
the dwarves to get fixed up. Oh yeah, you know those retarded looking Starbucks baristas from those early set pictures that everyone thought were the dwarves? Well, those are the bandits, who are actually out of work actors forced to become thieves because the evil queen's taxation policies shut down their entire industry. Is that a reference to something? Is that a
Wait, are they shitting on the actors? Is that what they made them bandits? Or are they, like, supporting them? Because I'm actually not sure. Like, putting them in the movie feels like they're shitting on them. Because the movie sucks.
entire industry?
Actually, maybe it's good
Is
because the
that
movie
a
sucks.
reference to something? Is that a reference to something?
Is that a reference to something?
No idea. Anyway, Jonathan decides to lure the Queen's soldiers away to give Snow White time to escape, and then immediately gets captured because he's a bumbling idiot. And the evil Queen decides that she's had enough of this shit. Frankly, one sympathizes. So she turns herself into an old hag and manipulates Snow White into eating a poisoned apple that makes her go a bit dead. But that's okay because Jonathan
You know what? I never understood this. Because, I'm pretty sure Snow White and Maleficent are, like, connected. Right? Like the evil queen or whatever. The hag. Like, she is Maleficent, right? She is the fairy dragon or whatever. So she actually is strong enough to just kill her. Why doesn't she just do this? I guess
escapes
because of the
prison
plot.
so that the rest of the plot can happen, and gives her the world's least passionate kiss, which brings her back to life so that she can begin her cunning plan to overthrow the
be
queen
fair,
and take back her kingdom.
can't really
Do
be
you want to
passionate
know what that
with that
plan
haircut.
is? Are you ready for the fourth dimensional quantum mega chess that she plays here that would probably give Christopher Nolan a brain hemorrhage? Well, she
What
walks
happened?
into town and then convinces the soldiers to turn against the evil queen because she can remember their names. I'm not kidding, that's her plan. So the evil queen gets mad and smashes
I guess someone writing the script likes manga, huh? Or anime. That's something they would do there.
the magic
Just talk
mirror
to
and
them.
then turns into black glass and shatters, and Snow White becomes the new queen, and that's it. They all live happily ever after.
Wow.
Now, there's a
There's
lot I
no way
want to
that's
say
it.
about this movie, but first, let us begin with the positives. And as hard as it might be to believe, most of them
Wait, that's actually it? What happened to her? Because she smashed the mirror, right? That's what he said? So she smashed it. She's still the queen.
actually concern Rachel Zegler.
No way!
Now, don't get me wrong, she might be an obnoxious arsehole in the real world, but credit where credit's due
Yeah,
here.
obnoxious,
She actually
that's the word I
isn't
wanted.
terrible as Snow White.
It's not true!
Terrible as Snow White. Arsehole in the real world, but credit where credit's due here. She actually isn't terrible as Snow
Isn't terrible doesn't mean it's good, by the way. She could be bad. She could even say be horrible. Because I'd say that it's terrible, horrible, bad, meh, good. So that doesn't mean her acting is good.
White.
It's not true! That's impossible!
I mean, her outfit looks like it cost like $100 off Amazon. Her haircut
30
makes
bu-
Anton
30 bucks.
Chigurh like a cutting-edge
Max.
trailblazer. Her performance is a bit over the top and theatre kid at times, and her American accent comes and goes depending on whether or not she's in a reshoot. But I do get the impression she's at least trying to do her best with the material, and she can
Sure.
absolutely belt out the musical numbers, which is pretty much what you'd expect from a trained vocalist. The same
Yeah, sure.
cannot be said for Gal Gadot, however. It genuinely pains me to say this, but I think we all need to to come to the acceptance that that girl cannot fucking act. It takes a
I don't know
special
who
kind
she
of
is.
charisma, presence, and dramatic range to play a good Disney villain, and well, Gal Gadot doesn't have it. Her delivery somehow manages to be wooden and
She actually looks like I think it was Wonder Woman? Like the girl from there?
scenery chewing at the same time, and when she has to deliver a big musical number, you can pinpoint the exact
Is it
moment
her?
where they swap out her voice with someone who can actually sing.
Imagine there's no heaven.
Jonathan is yet another
It wasn't that bad. Like, I'm worse. Just being honest, I'm worse at singing.
entry
So
into
it's
the
not that bad.
bumbling, forgettable, non-threatening male sidekick list of modern-day Disney heroes. There's brief moments where it seems like he might be displaying the tiniest bit of attitude and heroism, but then it's immediately squashed to reinforce the idea that men are all just a bit useless. Visually, the film's an inconsistent mess. CGI Cthulhu nightmares aside, the colour scheme ranges from bleak, washed-out grey castles and towns that look like Zack Snyder directed it, to a kind of over-the-top golden yellow piss filter for the CGI woodland scenes that's so excessive it actually makes your eyes start to hurt after a while. It's funny as well because there's like
sure.
one scene that was filmed on location in a real forest, and the contrast between that and the CGI fantasy version is so jarring, I actually thought the action had shifted to a whole different country. Oh,
Yeah, so the main problem with these movies, it's just the CGI. Like, they abuse CGI for everything pretty much. The mirror, CGI. The dwarves, CGI. The animals, CGI. You could get a deer, by the way. Like, I do think you could probably get a deer from well, not the zoo, one of these places that they keep them for rehabilitation. You could probably convince them to, like, give it to you for like a small shoot. You could do that. You don't have to use CGI for everything.
also, you can absolutely tell this movie's been reshot to fuck. The kiss scene where Jonathan brings Snow White back to life was absolutely added in later to try to appease fans of the original. Snow White herself is
There's no way. Actually, she did say that. She did say during an interview that the prince wasn't saving her. So actually, that is possible, even though that's like the main point of Snow White. Well, it's not really the main
clearly
point.
been
but you know
toned
what I
down
mean.
in places to make her less obnoxious, and I'd be willing to bet about 90% of the bandits' screen time has been cut. Most of them don't even get a single line of dialogue, which once again had me questioning, why the fuck are they even in this movie?
Well, I think the actors' strike stopped, right? It ended, so they probably just took it away. Yeah, November 2023. So they put it because they thought, okay, the actors' strike is gonna be like a long event, but it's not.
I think the biggest problem, though, is the ending. The original movie had the dwarves battling the evil queen to save Snow White, reinforcing the idea of reciprocal kindness and redemption, but here Snow
Sure.
White has to resolve everything by herself, and the result is that
strong
none of
woman,
the other
she has
groups
to.
or factions have anything to do. Both the bandits and the dwarves, and even Jonathan, just kind of stand around watching the whole thing
there's no
play
point in
out,
that,
and I couldn't
right?
help wondering, what is the film even trying to show us here? Snow White as a character seems to be all about equity and shared responsibility, rather than privilege and greedy self-interest, but when it comes to the crunch, she ends up having to do basically everything herself, which negates the very point the movie's been trying to make for the past 2 hours. It's this
Yeah.
fundamental inability to understand what it's even trying to say, beyond the crushingly tired princess
let me
who
go
saves
full
herself
screen.
trope that's now become the very cliche it worked so hard to overturn that proves to be the film's real undoing. In short, Snow White is a modern-day mess, a film that's basically been a disaster from start to finish, and now that it's finally out there and I've reviewed it, it's something I'm very much looking forward to tossing on the ash heap of history.
Yeah.
Do
Just the
yourself a big old
usual-
favour, save yourself some time and money, and go watch the original instead.
Just the usual live action
Weird.
trash.
Weird.
She's
Anyway,
so annoying.
that's all I've got for
But,
today.
just the usual
Go
live
away
action
now.
trash. It's
are
exactly
certain
what I
fundamental
expected,
truths
by the way. Just trash. But dude, it was obvious. The moment they talked about, oh, the original sucks in that interview. Like, you can't make a live action about a book or a story and say it sucks. You do realize the person who made that story sold millions or billions of books. You haven't done shit. Like, I'm pretty sure he knows better than you. Anyways, peace, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.